man, I hope this is not true. We just had the Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman press conferences down at the combine till things start heating up this week. Some little nits and bits on certain situations that you might not like, but we're going to go over them anyway. So let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
With these combine press conferences, you have to wonder, or not wonder, but you have to really know that they're not going to give you a lot of answers, okay? You're at the combine where you're trying to outplay a lot of other teams. You're looking at players, you're studying players that you might want, but you're really keeping a lot of stuff under your hat. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt at this point, to where you're not going to get all the answers you're looking for between Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, but you could kind of see where they're going with it, how it sounds. There's some crazy stuff that did happen in this press conference and out of news with the Philadelphia Eagles on a potential name that keeps popping up. And now players are starting to call that free agent from the Philadelphia Eagles to recruit and join up for the Eagles 2024 season. Now, Howie Roseman, before the press conference even started, Howie was like, oh, any linebacker questions? I'm starting to feel like Howie Roseman is really interested in linebacker and will have to get a linebacker in free agency. Okay, as much as I think Andrew Van Ginkel will be a great player here and probably be the number one guy on the list, as well as others maybe, they have to hit this position a few times, maybe a couple in free agency, one being high paid, one prove it, and then go into the second round, which would be great. So, it was just funny how he said this. Again, the second time in a press conference where Howie Roseman is, want to prove everybody wrong that he values the linebacker position. And it was funny because the new head coach of the Texans, DeMeco Ryans, ex-Philadelphia Eagle linebacker, went up to him and said, I'll play linebacker for you, in a funny way, kind of went up to Howie. And I miss DeMeco Ryans a lot. You don't hear his name much, but I'm really happy about his success going forward and all that great stuff. So, linebacker is definitely big there. Now, the big news on James Bradberry. Now, somebody asked, like, what's the future at cornerback? James Bradberry, what's going on? And Howie Roseman says James Bradberry is part of the Eagles' plans for 2024. Okay. Not only that, but he says, well, he's on contract. So at a technicality of his words, he's still on contract, so technically, he's with the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, I'm not going to take this too seriously, as a lot of people are going to be upset. I see people saying, fire Howie Roseman. Just wait. It's going to happen. The guy is going to get cut. He will get extended. They'll spread out that dead cap for a few years, which is very affordable. Single-digit numbers, which the Eagles can afford to eat that up easily. But there is no freaking way James Bradberry is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. And I love how Howie likes to say things on technicality when it's like, well, yeah, he's on contract this year, so yeah, he is with us. He is part of our plans. And per se, because of his contract, doesn't mean they're going to get out of this contract. Okay? I'm not going to believe it until I see it. If he's actually still here. If they as much as James Bradberry is probably a better fit in zone, probably, okay, under Vic Fangio, he's just athletically not good enough to be here. And I think that Super Bowl in 22, I think that really messed up his psyche in a lot of ways. So that was the news on James Bradberry going forward. And, I'm not believing a goddamn thing until something actually happens. So that was the news on that going forward. Now, Howie Roseman did talk about Devonte Smith and the potential extension, which I think this was pretty much a straightforward answer, per se. So Howie Roseman on the importance of getting an extension done with Devonte Smith. He says, Devonte is an incredible person and player. Those aren't guys you want to leave, okay? You have Devonte Smith. You have Landon Dickerson. Obviously, Josh Sweat's a free agent after this year, but I don't think that's going to matter with the HaasonReddick stuff going on. But Devonte Smith, We already know this extension is going to happen. How it will work the cap, the money when the cap numbers hit and all that great stuff. So I'm not really worried about that. So we got a little update on that. When it's going to happen, I'm not really sure. I would pick up the 5th year option this year. This way you're safe, this way Devonte Smith is locked in to be here for his 5th year. And then obviously once you pick up his 5th year option, you start working on that extension. I don't know, whenever this year, whenever they can get it done. The earlier, the better. Okay. They can wait till the end of the season to get it done. So there's no really any rush on it. When it happens, it will happen. So that was pretty good. Now, Howie talked about obviously Nick Sirianni and the coaching aspect of things going to this year. There was a lot of like stupid PR stuff that was said that just means nothing. So I'll skip all that because it's just to say things just to say it to make yourself sound great. Talked about Nick not being afraid, to play young guys and developing those guys. And I think Howie Roseman did say in this press conference that not the issue that they have, but um, giving guys chances and then really kind of dismissing those players later on after they draft them after a year, not really getting playing time again, not really being steady on a specific player that has had starting experience, not really start those players ever again to see how far they can go. I think it's been one of the problems here. I think the number one player on this team that wasn't, I mean, look, everybody was underutilized, there's no doubt, but I think one player that needed to be on the field was Nolan Smith. Okay, and that was just, I know Nolan Smith got hurt 2 times. I know he got hurt out of training camp with the stinger. He got hurt again. I think it was after the Seattle game. I forgot what game it was. The rotation was bad. Derek Barnett was taking snaps from him. Nolan Smith was listed as a Sam linebacker, never really played special teams most of the time. Got more opportunity at the end of the year, but you got to play your first round pick. You know what I mean? But I think in the Fangio scheme in the 3-4, I think Nolan Smith, as not as probably the pure pass rusher that he is more as that athletic outside linebacker, I think would work really well. Um, you know, Avonte Maddox injury kind of affected everything because you were literally switching nickel corners. I mean, you were switching inside corner all the time. You can't rotate inside corner. Uh, that's how much trouble you're in. You lost Maddox, you lost McPherson, and then you're putting Job on the inside. They even tried to flirt with Bradberry playing on the inside, and that didn't work out. Keely Ringo, they all got burnt badly, and hopefully that position is solidified. I don't have Avonte Maddox being here after this year with a post-June cut of $7.1 million, $10 million against the cap. So, it should be really interesting. But we're probably one of the few teams that puts a lot of, especially undrafted free agents. And it's nice to put new guys on the field like that because you get to see what you have. And we saw some flash from Eli Ricks. We saw flash from Keely Ringo, a lot of flash. But now, our coaching aspect was just horrible. You can't get the best out of your players that way when you're just throwing in guys and just telling them to play basic. And that's pretty much it. We didn't have great communication on the back end of the defense, which has been a big problem. So, development and coaching has been the two issues, at least for this year. But development, it happens over time, with specific players. But, they had to play young players because they had no choice. They had no choice. They're when you lose 2 of your nickel cornerbacks, you got to play a bunch of guys. There was a time where I forgot if Bradberry was hurt this year for a couple games. I forgot who came in. I forgot I think it was Patricia. I think it was when Matt Patricia took over for a couple weeks. I thought Keely Ringo played really well those 2 games, but no one's going to play consistently great. But when you practice and you work hard and, you have good coaching behind it, it makes a huge difference. So I don't think the Eagles stray away from just throwing in and putting someone in the fire, especially a young guy, especially an undrafted free agent, or giving somebody opportunity. You know what I mean? It's a great thing, or putting somebody, a late round pick, a day 3 pick in your defense and just giving them a shot. And it's a great thing, but we need to solidify, all of that. And that was pretty much it from Howie Roseman. But really the last thing was he's going to be very aggressive on getting the players that he wants for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024. So aggressive. Will he hold on to that, that word and run with it? I hope so. The Eagles will probably have a lot more cap space to deal with. And the Eagles normally don't have over, they have 32 right now, but they normally don't have 40, 50, $60 million. Whatever that number is going to go up to, But it's going to be really interesting. And all he talked about was being aggressive. And that's a great thing. I'm excited to see what the Eagles do see at the combine and see how everything works out this week. March 11th, I think, is the start of free agency. It could be wrong. A few more weeks, couple more weeks. The tampering period begins and the Eagles start on the hunt for what they're going to sign to the Eagles. It's going to be really exciting going forward. Now, Nick Sirianni, really not much. And both coaches did talk, our GM and coach did talk about the HaasonReddick situation. We'll just see what happens. He wants him back as a Philadelphia Eagle, the PR, normal, generic shit that they say. So nothing, no new answers on the HaasonReddick thing if everybody's trying to wonder on that. But Nick talked about the reports that came out that, God, the reports, Jesus. I mean, there was some. I'll go over that after I'm done. Nick was talked about obviously Hurts being more vocal and what's the understanding of what Jalen should change going into this season. Now, he says, Nick Sirianni wants Jalen Hurts to be a more vocal leader next year. If you lead and you're trying to be somebody you're not, it doesn't work. Everyone has to lead their way. Jalen has special qualities people will follow. He needs to do it his way. Jalen needs to lead how he does. AJ needs to lead in his way. Slay in his own way. Leading by your example is a great way to lead. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, like, everybody's not the rah-rah, I think Jalen is like the in the middle type quarterback when it comes to his emotions during the week of practice. And I think on game day, like pregame, I think he starts to get real hype. And I think on field, quiet, collective, and will lead on the sideline and will say some things to certain position groups. And I think he just does it, like I said, like Nick said, it does it his own way. I believe that. I don't think there's got to be a change. I think everybody just takes it out of. I think the more vocal leader thing comes out of this. The coach has got to be better than what Jalen Hurts has to bring to the table. I'm sorry, but your quarterback is struggling for 7 fucking weeks, and you sat back and didn't make any changes, didn't make any adjustments, and you want this quarterback to be a better leader when like did Nick Sirianni become a better head coach? Did he lead this team? Did he lead this team? We were losing that badly. What changed after 1 loss, 2 straight losses, 3 straight losses, 4, 5, you name it, and you had a playoff game and you still looked the way you did? Is it really Jalen Hurts being the big problem that everyone thinks he is on being a big vocal leader? Or is the guidance of this coaching staff pushing the quarterback and really making changes to promise, not losing your locker room in specific ways? I think that's what happened this year. So when it all goes on Jalen Hurts on why the offense failed is a crock of fucking shit. So that's all I got to say about that. Now, yeah, we talked about Nick, talking about HaasonReddick, wanting him back. Nick looks stressed in this press conference, by the way. I don't know what the hell is going on with him, but he looks stressed like crazy. But other than that, that's pretty much it. That's all we're getting. You're not getting answers especially at the combine. You're not getting answers. You're never getting answers from Nick. You're never getting answers from Howie Roseman. About some nits and bits of pieces of stuff that we can start to assume things going down the line. Now, the other questions that were asked by the media was horrible. I don't know what is with this day and age of media. People care about losing their credentials for doing things and showing up to things. But Jesus Christ, man, like, there's just no good questions asked at these things. Like, they're just like, like, no, I mean, not about drama or anything like that, but like, at least like ask about maybe a little bit of last year. I don't know, maybe about like what changes are you making with the new coaching staff? Why I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of different things you can ask. Like, I don't get how hard this is, and I guess like people are just afraid to ask. I don't know. So that was all that going forward. Now, outside the combine, outside of Nick and Howie's press conference, there was some news that came out. And a name that we keep talking about nonstop is L'Jarius Sneed. It keeps happening. I don't know why. Now, it looks like multiple Eagles players that used to play with L'Jarius Sneed are calling him and trying to recruit him. Boston Scott, Milton Williams, and probably a couple others. Now, both of them did play with L'Jarius Sneed in the past, probably college most likely, I think, for what it sounds like. What it says here, I don't know. And then, and then the same post came out, Milton Williams putting the eye emojis on that post. So, wondering how hard they're trying to get L'Jarius Sneed to Philadelphia. it's already, and this was by Tony Pauline. So I don't know how, I mean, you as a player, you can recruit as much as you want. But L'Jarius Sneed isn't just going to join this team because of the friendship with players that he has. The guy wants to get paid. Okay, one of the highest paid cornerbacks, and I don't know what it's going to take to bring him to Philadelphia. I think he fits the mold as well as guys like Jalen Johnson. Those two cornerbacks I would have a lot of interest in because at the end of the day, you either going to pay one or you're going to pay or trade for a mid-tier corner that'll be a number 2 this year. If that's what you guys want, I don't know. Do they want a player that's at the top of his prime right now, or do you want more of a press man cornerback in the first round of the draft, which I think is going to be a big waste of money because that cornerback is not going to use those skill sets within this scheme. So the Eagles could save a lot of money. You're going to be spending more here with getting L'Jarius Sneed, no doubt, but save a lot of money going to the draft in the first round and putting more attention towards another position with on top of a first and, like I said, 2 second-round picks for the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't talk today. I have the hiccups. So I thought that was really interesting going forward. So at the end of the day, we just have to hope and pray that Howie Roseman gets this roster to where it needs to be. It's not really the roster. I mean, it is, since there's more holes now. But the coaching has to be the number one thing that gets fixed. It does. It's the coaching changes, what Kellen Moore is going to bring to the table, Vic Fangio and how much control he has had over getting his personnel, and will have more control over getting most of his guys, his players, and a lot of them are coming to Philadelphia. So I can't wait. I'm so excited because this is the first time in a while where I have no idea what they're gonna do. Every year I don't know what they're gonna do, but when you really don't know, you don't have a little, nothing. I haven't felt this clueless in a while. So yeah, I'm always clueless anyway, but you know what I mean. But that was Nick and Howie's press conference at the NFL Combine. Thursday is the start of the Combine. We'll be going over all that. Great things coming this week. Free agency in a few weeks, and we're getting this thing ramped up, ready to go. And let me know what you guys think about his comments on James Bradberry and other things, L'Jarius Sneed. And there's only, like I said, so much you can take from these press conferences. It's a fucking joke at the end of the day because they're not giving any answers out. It is what it is. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. Appreciate it so much from everybody. You guys enjoy the rest of it. And shake squad up, fly outside. Peace out, guys. Peace.